thing is that the female who has allowed all of this degeneration to take place have to face the idea it's not going to be easy to restore it. Doesn't mean it can't be restored, but without factoring in female psychology, it's not going to happen. There's no political remedy here. A psyche that has slowly been poisoned and eroded from what it originally was. Women are the main target. This is what the sorcerers understand, and you must understand it. They've resurrected this, and we've explained why. It's atavistic, right? It's a word people should understand. So there needs to be a zeitgeist change in which women sincerely, right, following the women that I cite in my books, that on this subject, that they start to follow, and that's what my work is. The websites, the articles, is all about trying to kindle that interest, which has never really been there since the advent of psychology, except for a very, very small demographic. Women have scorned the subject of psychology and are only interested in the most Dr. Phil and minus level. So it's not that there are no remedies. It's for women to pick it up, and then men will follow. As we've expressed it in other work, the mother is the one who controls the semiotic level. This is the pre-Oedipal period, which only lasts months, by the way, right? It's pre-symbolic. And that semiotic level is pre-rational, it's pre-symbolic, right? Before we understand language and before we understand symbolism, there is a very primeval area of consciousness in the newborn child that's called semiotic, in which it's all of these other structures, higher up structures, but in a very, very loose and condensed and vaguer way, right? And the central icon that sits in the center of the child's world when it's in the semiotic abyss, not just the image of the mother, the body of the mother, the very physicality, her scent, her presence, her accoutrement, her skin temperature. The mother dominates like some massive goddess. And therefore, centuries upon centuries of information is being conveyed to the child's mind in the semiotic. Everything else is derivative, everything else is later, and everything else is far less important to the consciousness of a child. The real structuring of the psyche happens in the semiotic level. Almost no psychologist in the world ever deals with it. So there's a fault all of the 20th century as well. It's a deficiency, right? But the point is that that's where the child's real seeds of feminization are planted. As the child passes through the Oedipal complex into adulthood, they're masculinizing themselves. But the witchery that's going on today and the sorcery is that if those cultures and civilizations can become feminized, which is what the Marcusan politics and communism is doing, don't you see? The female has been feminized herself, right? Way beyond the masculine paradigm of Western woman. She doesn't realize that the prime rituals in the world today that are really evil are directed on women's consciousness, not men. The man goes down if the doomsday weapon is woman. But the attacks are on women. So you can't make women understand this because they have no interest in their psychology. They've been conditioned not to give a shit about who they are. Just keep shopping and all the rest of it, right? So they all got to stop. They know the psychology you don't know. They know that once you've got that child semiotic level polluted, poisoned, and that's done through the mother, the terrible mother particularly, you've won. Once you know how to decode it, it's done. The job is done. It's not that hard. I may have worked for 30 fucking years or whatever to build up this knowledge, but when the person gets it, they get it in 30 seconds. They can get it in 30 minutes, 30 days. And then now you're onto it and you can't be infected. But since women are the ones who are breeding the new generation of children, it's up to them really to, take this to heart and realize that they're in charge of the semiotic level. What comes later is important, but not ultimately as important as the roots of child consciousness, which is semiotic.
that child is going to become profoundly present and profoundly reverent about every second that it breathes. Right? Its aesthetic sense, that's already open because of this. Every footstep, every breath is of value. Suddenly you have created something unimaginable, something we need in this world very much. Something that's morally superior, something lacking in this world has suddenly become created. And as a relationship with life so profound, the Heideggers can't even find the words to describe it. The sorge, the care, the being unto death, with an immense reverence, an immense depth. I've often said that anger and violence are not the world's problem, but it's false love is the problem.